So good morning. I'd like to welcome and thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Professor Jeff Redding. I'm the Interim Director of the Wabakanez Bryce Institute for Indigenous Peoples Health here at the Dalhousie School of Public Health at the University of Toronto. We are here today to shine a light on Indigenous health issues and call the political leaders in this country to action. Indigenous communities are one of the fastest growing segments of Canadian society, and there is an urgent need to address the dramatic inequalities in health stemming from multi-generational cycles of poverty, oppression that affect many Aboriginal communities in Canada. The Wabakanez Bryce Institute for Indigenous Health was created in June of 2014 with a gift from Dr. Michael and Amira Dan family. It was founded on respectful, sustainable, and equitable partnerships between Indigenous communities and organizations and the University of Toronto. We are here and we are honored to host this important event today. My Associate Director, Earl Nalgizik, is a professor in public health as well, and together we're starting this institute and leading it, and this is a good example of where we want to support our Indigenous colleagues at the political end of health. Together we will conduct world-class research and training targeted to addressing health inequalities and contributing to thriving Indigenous communities in Ontario and across the country, and indeed globally. So today you will hear from 4 Indigenous leaders, and I will introduce them now, and they will come up in sequence. Our first speaker is Wayne Moonias. He's the chief of the Neskantaga First Nation in Northern Ontario, which is about an hour-and-a-half flight north of Thunder Bay. Chief Moonias will tell us more about the challenges facing his people in his community, particularly around access to clean water and access to health professionals. Then we will hear from Ontario Regional Chief Isadore Day, who was elected Regional Chief for the Chiefs of Ontario in June 2015. Chief Day also holds the National Health Portfolio at the Assembly First Nations National Executive and works with the federal and provincial governments on issues relevant to First Nations within Ontario and indeed across Canada. Then we will hear from the Anishinaabe Nation Deputy Grand Chief Terry Waboose. Our last speaker will be Neskantaga First Nation's Chief Peter Moonias. And so, is that right?
Former Chief
Chief Moonias. Thank you for the correction there. After our 4 chiefs have spoken, there will be ample opportunity to ask questions and speak to each of the chiefs one-on-one and to get more detailed information. So I'd now like to call on Chief Wayne Moonias to the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Chief Wayne Moonias. I'm from Neskantaga First Nation. It's about 400 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. It's a remote First Nation community. It's a community that has about 350 people on reserve. We have a crisis in our community, a water crisis in our community, where our community members are not able to access quality drinking water, safe quality drinking water in their homes. We've had this boil water advisory for over 20 years already. It is one of the longest, probably the longest one in Canada. A country that's rich in resource, and our First Nation today is still struggling to have safe drinking water from their homes. Our people are having some medical issues, health and safety issues from the lack of safe drinking water in our homes, in our community. We have Band-Aid solutions that the government has provided for us, a reverse osmosis unit, an RO unit that's being provided for our community membership. Anywhere from 2 liters to 4 liters a day, our community members are able to get that. There's no water for us to provide for to bathe, to produce the safe drinking water, as well as to produce the safe and clean water to bathe the people. Our children are being impacted. Our elders are being impacted as a result of this inaction by the government. Today, we see, when we hear stories on a daily basis from our community membership, that they're facing medical health issues as a result of this issue. This long-standing issue, the 21 years, 22 years boil water advisory, has really put a strain on our people. And we're calling on the public, we're calling on the government to be aware of this. We need action. We need resolution as to how, why this is continuing today in our community. Our people in this community, Neskantaga, yes, we're only 350 people, but we're still human beings. We're still people that require safe and quality drinking water. Imagine in your own lives where you have a 20-year-old. If you're a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old unable to have safe drinking water in your homes, this is what our people are facing today. Our people are facing that today. We're seeing a lot of medical issues, health and safety issues. As you know, in the press release, you've seen some sores on a young child. And this is these are examples that we can show you in our community. We've seen rashes where people have come to us. Rashes are being developed by the use of water. And it's important that we deal with this issue. We want government action. We want action that's going to produce the resolution that our community members expect. It's a right. It's a human right. And for this to be unresolved, to have no solution for over 20 years, it's a violation of our human rights. We say that we live in the greatest country in this world, and yet our people in Neskantaga First Nation cannot get safe drinking water. They're not able to bathe or care for their kids without having to deal with sores or rashes from the exposure of water. We have other issues, infrastructure issues that we're facing today. So the quality of life, the standard of living in our community for our people that they deserve, we have to resolve those things. We have to resolve them in a way that it's going to bring that standard of life in our people. We have immense and lots of resources in our traditional lands. The government and industry, for example, the mining industry, for example, wants to make plans in our lands to extract these resources. And yet we have infrastructure issues like quality drinking water in our communities that are still unresolved. We hear too that we get responses from the government that there's no money. And yet today, in the last few months, the federal government, for example, has announced that they've returned monies to the Treasury. Imagine if some of those billions of dollars that were returned, imagine if they were invested into our community to resolve the water issue that we're facing today. Imagine what the quality of life, the standard of living that our people deserve. Imagine what that would be for our people. It would give them hope. It would give them an opportunity to have the lives, the living that they deserve. The opportunity to be able to drink from their taps of their homes. Today it doesn't exist in my community. And that's why we're here for today, is to raise that awareness. To challenge the federal government. We know that there's an election right now today, and all the political parties have said that they want to look at these issues more closely. Some of the issues that our country is facing. What are they going to do about our issues in Neskantaga? What are they going to do about the issues that we're facing? The quality drinking water issue that we're facing in our community? Are they going to fund and construct a facility that's going to produce the water that is required for our people? Those are the challenges that I put forth to the parties that are running for the federal election. We need action. Our community needs action to get these issues resolved. We need action that's going to produce the quality of life, the standard of living in our communities. We need action. That's what we're asking for here. And it's important that when we talk about the lives of our people, yes, there's an obligation. But within that obligation, I think it's important that we have a moral obligation to do the right thing. And the right thing is to produce the water that our people need. And I would like to say on a final note that our people are determined. The people of Neskantaga are very determined people. Are people that value their traditional beliefs, their cultures, and their land. The rights and interests of our people are very dear to us. But the quality and the standard of living that our people are facing today, that's just not something that we can continue. So when we talk about the actions that have to be taken in order to resolve these issues, we need commitment. We need a time frame when is this going to be resolved? 21, 22, 23 years, that's a long time for a person to be able to have safe drinking water. Something is not right when we have our people facing those kind of challenges or difficulties. When our elders have to walk maybe a kilometer or two to get a clean drinking water from the reverse osmosis unit. Imagine if you walk in your own selves, if you have to walk on a rainy day. Imagine if you have to walk on minus 20, 25 degree weather. Imagine if you have to walk a kilometer or two just to get safe drinking water, your 2 liters or your 4 liters of water. Imagine drinking that bottled water. And imagine if you have to fly it in. Those are the issues that we're facing today in our community. And Neskantaga continues to push this issue. We need resolution. We need action that's going to make sure that the quality of life is improved. So I just wanted to thank everybody for being here today, for coming out, the media, the delegation, Chiefs of Ontario, the non-deputy Grand Chief that's here, and everybody that's here to support and try to hear some of the things that we're facing today. Why it's so important to deal with these issues head on. We don't need lip service. We need action. We don't need the concerns to be just put to the side. We need action, immediate action that has to be taken in order to improve. Because everybody has a right to have that quality of life. Water is the essence of life. That's what our people, our elders have told us all along. And I'm sure you guys share the same view. And for today, my people are not able to enjoy that, or not able to be able to do that at their homes, not be able to bathe or to care for their kids, care for their families. We struggle today. We have difficulties, and we don't know what the impacts will be for the future. That's why it's so important that we have to resolve this issue. That's why we're saying that we need action. So with that, Migach, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I know the other speakers will share a little bit more. I have my some of my community members that are here, my council member, as well as some of the community members. We also have our technical person from our tribal council, Neskantaga First Nations manager, that can answer some of the technical questions that you may have if you wish to interview our people. So with that, miigwech, and thank you all. Miigwech.